We're going to now disassemble so that we can change cams. We first need to push back the rubber protective boot. Then we are going to use our T-handle to loosen and take out these two bolts that hold the housing together. There's no need to be afraid that when you take the housing apart that anything is going to fall out. So by taking the two bolts out, we have loosened the throttle housing. At that point, we're going to split the housing in half by pulling the two housing sides of half. Rotate the tube a little bit. You are going to then unhook one of the cables. We will rotate it. We will unhook the other cable and pull off our existing throttle with the throttle cam system. In order to take the cam off, we pull one cam off. We are going to change the cam, and by slipping it on the one-way directional, we have now changed from one cam to the next. Now we're going to reinstall on all versions except for a Honda CRF. They come equipped with a piece of white plastic as a guide. It only pertains to a CRF. We need to make sure that this is pushed into the housing one half real well. We slide our existing throttle back on, and we just reverse the process. We hook the pull cable first into the top hole. We spin the tube. We're going to now hook onto the return cable. And how we do now is we have both cables fixed. We will rotate the tube so that the cam fits securely into the housing. We then take and make sure our cable goes up and over the plastic guide on our CF model only. We are now going to install the pull cable, and we need to make sure that it rests inside of the white plastic guide in the slots that are there. You might need to work it just a little bit to get it together. Upon that, we need to make sure that the white guide plastic is pushed up so that it does not rest on top of the cam. If it rests on top of the cam, it might cause a little sluggish throttle action. We then we need to reinstall the two bolts back into the housing. We will tighten them up just a little. We want to leave everything not completely tight yet at this time. We need to then push our throttle housing up till it hits the end of the bar, and then we just need to back it just a very little bit so that the end of the tube is not rubbing onto the handlebar to cause a stiction type problem. We then at that point will just snug up our bolts that hold the housing together. At that point in time, we need to make sure that the throttle moves freely, and if at this point in time you feel any sluggishness in the throttle, we need to check to make sure that the end of the tube is not pushed up onto the handlebar, or that we make sure that we have the cables in its guide paths. At this point, we can see that the throttle action is very smooth. This is, at this point in time, if the free play needs to be adjusted, this is where you would do it right now at this time, but it seems that everything is fine on here. We then at that point will reinstall our rubber protective boot, and at this point we're ready to go ride.